All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to WHIG TV's live morning show. And I was saying, Sherrill, familiar face here. How do you do this segment once a month, every other week, or
second and fourth?
Okay, so
Thursdays.
it's a twice a month thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because Thursday's not my normal day, so
Right.
So I don't know if he's here every Thursday or every other Thursday or what. So second and fourth. Your Money, Your Life segment. Sherrill Braswell of Statewide Insurers joining us. Always nice to catch up with you, Sherrill. I believe you and I first met at the Business Builders when my dad and I owned the golf course.
That's true.
I believe that is the first time you and I ever met. But it was interesting because you've been around here a long time as well, but our paths had never crossed to that. And you mentioned you used to, in your young days, go to the preschool that Rachel and I run now.
Yes.
So, but
Yeah.
everything comes full circle.
Yeah,
so.
man.
Oh,
Yeah.
So how's life treating you in general, my friend?
I think good.
Yep.
I think good. I will not complain. I'll just keep putting one foot in front of the other one. Keep moving forward.
That's all we can do sometimes, right? All we can do.
At least be a moving target.
There you go. Sometimes I feel like I'm a bigger moving target than I need to be, right? But that's another story as far as we'll have to get Rachel to help me with that because she's the fitness guru there. So, well, Sherrill, you're here, like you say, your segment called Your Money, Your Life. You're the owner of Statewide Insurers, your business. Tell us, I know most people see your segment every other Thursday, but give us a general, before we get into the specifics of tell us generally about your business, how long you've had it, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I've been in the insurance and investment business for 40 years.
Okay, I was thinking it'd been a long time.
I didn't. Holy moly!
Yeah,
it's been a while. But
trying to give your age away just a little bit later.
Yeah, I'll be 30 in a few more weeks.
That's exactly right.
Sure.
That's what I was thinking.
But, over the last 5 or 6 years, our focus has really gotten more and more into, just kind of basic financial planning and Medicare. Is our big, and of course when you're doing basic financial planning and Medicare, you get into insurance and related topics.
What are the biggest factors? This is just a general question because I always have stuff pop in my head when I interview people. Generally speaking, in today's economic world or just the world in general, what are the biggest factors that kind of alter people's mindset when it comes to financial planning, like what's going on in the world? What are some of the biggest concerns that people come in and or something that has happened in their life that makes them get to the point where I really, really need to do this?
I tell you what I see is a big tipping point. That person encounters a situation and they sit there and all of a sudden whoa, that could be me.
Okay.
And they'll run into people somebody who all of a sudden they're kicked out of work or they're going to retire, and they suddenly realize I really can't afford to retire right now because I'm not
planning.
Done preparation. Not planning for it. So that seems to be the big tipping point.
So I guess your advice to people in general would be to prepare for the unexpected. Never assume that these things that you see happening won't happen to you. We all kind of get that way to some degree.
Oh, absolutely.
We see something like, well, that won't happen to me. You just feel like, I hate to use the word invincible in a sense, but maybe to some degree you just don't think that So your advice to people is, look into this and say, okay, this is something that you really need to do because you just don't ever know. You just don't ever know. So let's focus today. I know you want to talk about disability income, why you need it, and things such as that. So take us down that path today with that topic.
Yeah, just talking about, if you're in the working world and let's say you are planning for your future, you're thinking about, I'm trying to put some money away for savings, maybe some for college, for vacation.
Yeah.
And here's what you have to think about. If you're the primary income in your household, and y'all got this wonderful plan put in place, and we're putting money here, we're putting money there, we're doing these things, and all of a sudden Wayne gets hit by a transfer truck when he's going to work.
Knock on wood. That.
Yeah,
you're not jinxing me.
And what? Now you're out of work. Your income's not there.
Right.
And so it's. And I'll give you a couple of examples that I have encountered in my life. Okay. I was typical. When I was 20 years old, I was pretty certain I was bulletproof. Absolutely bulletproof.
No doubt.
Yeah, and I was involved in an accident, and fortunately, at the time I had no debt.
Okay.
And I ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks, and basically ended up being semi-flat on my back for about 2 or 3 months. And I was able at that time to live in my parents' house, which I couldn't tell anybody that. I didn't want anybody to know I was dependent on somebody else.
I'm sure. Yeah,
and
I'm sure.
But that was the reality of the situation. And for me, I was very fortunate in that, like I said, I had no debt. My car I had paid for, so that type of thing. But there again, we're not bulletproof. You can have accidents. You have car accidents.
That's right.
You can have a sickness
like cancer,
things like that. I mean, in my family, my had a close family member who had cancer and basically was disabled for 3.5 years, and in early 50s.
Right.
Early 50s, and 3.5 years could not work. I had a nephew who was literally 6 months out of dental school at Carolina, was involved in a practice. Long story short, one day he can't control his hand and find out he had a brain tumor.
Oh gosh!
And that was he's fine now. That's been 10 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
But he had almost 2 years that he could not work.
Wow.
And fortunately for him, they pounded them in the head in dental school about you need to have disability coverage.
Right. Right.
And so he did that.
Right.
So because he was married and had 2 kids, and all this came together.
He had to have, and that's another reason why a good friend of mine that's a dentist won't ever play basketball with us, because he's like, I'm not taking any chance that I jam a finger or anything, anything unexpected like that. So, yeah, I mean, you're exactly right, Sherrill. I think transforming people's mindsets is a big thing as well, because, like you say, getting them out of that thought of invincibility, or not even, the male pride thing is probably huge for a lot. Like you say, you felt that back in your 20s and all. But, just changing that mindset. How much of this also, as we continue to discuss, how much of this could also factor into you inviting people to come see you, and maybe they already think they have a plan, or maybe they already have a plan, but you can still look at it and say, well, you might not really have the best fit for you right now. That I assume that with this, you could take a look at what people might.
Right.
Most of the people you talk to probably aren't doing anything, but maybe some are.
Yeah.
Do you still encourage people that maybe are a little uneasy about what they're currently doing to come see you as well?
Sure. I mean, it's education. It's education, and I'm a firm believer that, obviously that's how we learn. If you say, okay, here's where you are today.
Right.
This would be your ideal situation. What can we do here? How do we work here? Because you may not be familiar with this, but disability income is only going to replace, depending on what you do, on average between 40% and 60% of your income.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
you think about that. If I make $100 and I'm paying $25 worth of taxes, I mean, I've only got $75, disposable income.
Yeah.
And let's just say that I have something that replaces 60% of my income. Well, now I'm 10% less than where I was. And usually, my experience has been in dealing with other people, dealing with myself, if I'm in some type of a sickness situation, accident situation, guess what? My expenses usually I have extra things to pay for now that I wasn't paying for when I was not hurt or not sick.
Right.
Even my dad has had some health issues last year, and I mean, he's on Medicare and we got him on a great plan, but still there's things that come up. Had to have him in rehab in Raleigh for couple of months.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? You got to run back and forth every time he squeaks.
Right. No, I get it. I get it.
All that type of thing. I mean, it was just,
I want another thought about this process, because I like to delve into when people are watching, try to cover everything that's going on in their mind. So how take us through the process. If someone decides, I'm going to call Sherrill today or go by his office, what is the overall general commitment that person would have to make to work with you? Is it do you speak on a daily basis? Do you speak week? A lot of times people, sometimes they feel like, well, if that's just too much time, too much commitment, I'm just trying to, squash any fallacies that people may have. Take us through that general process of when they first call you, when they first knock on the door, what is the level of commitment that they're making?
Yeah. With whatever we need to accomplish for that person, I say, okay, Wayne, can we sit down and talk together, or if we just need to talk on the phone, but let's spend 30 minutes to 45 minutes and just talk, just so I understand what your situation is, what you want to accomplish, and because after we talk, we may realize, hey, this is not going to work. And so there's not a commitment other than some time.
Sure.
There's not a financial commitment, and then once we have that conversation, then I can tell you, okay, here's what I would suggest we do over the next X number of weeks. Let's just let's sit down again. Let me put some things together. Let's sit down and talk, and then see where that conversation.
You definitely channel it to the individual.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, your situation is totally different from mine.
There you go.
There you go. And that's just
that's what I want people to understand, because sometimes people think they go into something and it's like, well, they're gonna like push their particular way on, but no, it's very personal. It is your situation. I can tailor it, I can alter it, I can call an audible, like a football, whatever we need to do is very personal to them, and so I think that's something that's very important to understand. Any other thoughts on, I know we're talking about disability and other things, anything else that you wanted to make sure that you cover in our segment today?
One main thing, if you're working for a company, look at your benefits package. You may have disability income through them that you're not even aware of.
Okay, that's a good point.
And usually if you're on a group policy, it's going to be less expensive. The different benefit structures, and you also need to be aware of your disability income may or may not be a taxable benefit to you. Depends on how it's set up. So I wouldn't have thought about that. Yeah. Because I'm thinking about it, if I'm making 60-70% less, and then I got to tax that too.
Exactly. That's you're losing a lot.
You're losing a lot. So that's important on how it's set up. So there again, I can work with you. I can look at what you got, and because I've got folks out here with older plans that you can't replicate today, and I'm like, don't touch it.
So there are times that somebody will come to you and you're just like, stay put.
Yes,
like
absolutely,
honestly, and I think that's important for people to understand as well. If you look at somebody and like you're already good, then you're not going to try to pressure them to. I'm going to tell you the truth. And Sherrill is definitely an honest man, for sure. I know that. So as we wrap up, are there anything that we haven't covered? And then when we're done with that, I want to make sure people have your contact information and where you are and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Just again, we can give you a recap of what you've got.
Okay.
And just make sure you understand the major points what type of coverage you might need.
Okay.
And we're easy to find. We've got a website. It's actually statewidemedicare.org.
Okay.
Is the name of it, and you can contact us through that.
Okay.
My office is at the corner of Hunter Hill and Country Club Road.
Right there across from the Pizza Inn.
There you go, right there.
There you go.
If you're facing those, they're condominiums.
Yep.
It looks like on the corner.
Yep.
If you're facing them, we're the far right-hand end, closest to the intersection.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah, 880 is our office number.
Yep, right on the end there.
And the office telephone 252-316-8166.
Okay.
Most of the time, a live human being answers, but if not, a live human being will call you back.
There you go. There you go.
So we do work on that to make sure that happens.
Absolutely. Well, Sherrill, it is always a pleasure to have
Yes, sir, man.
you on
Thank
the
you.
show. It's always good to see you on a personal note as well. Sherrill Braswell, Statewide Insurers. Give him a call today. And we appreciate him being by for the Your Money, Your Life. Like I said, it's very important stuff. And don't ever get caught up in that. I don't need this or I don't need that. It's not going to happen to me. I don't need to plan. You really do.
Yeah.
You need to plan for the unexpected. And
Life happens.
It definitely
Life
does
happens.
happen. When we return after this commercial break, we will get another look at the weather, and then Lim and I will dive into our next local story. A couple of brothers that came, twin brothers as a matter of fact, that came to our recent city council meeting to discuss some very prominent opinions, I guess you could say. We'll tell you all about what they had to say and who was missing from that council meeting as far as our leadership. We'll talk about that and much more. Sherrill probably doesn't want to stay for that part, baby.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to put you on that spot. So, but we'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
Cool.